Hello and welcome back, everybody. My name is Angel Rodriguez Garcia. This is my YouTube channel. Welcome you and welcome back anybody that's been watching my videos. This one today is about going back to school as a veteran. I am a father. I'm 31 years old. I'm married. So my perspective is a little bit different, or at least my experience is a little bit more different because of those factors. Hopefully what I talk about today helps you, and let's get going. I'll be covering a few different things, so just stay with me, and if in the future you want to ask any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment. All right. All right, so the first thing, going back into school, it was intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. It's intimidating because you walk in, right, and you're just a student. You're nothing special. You're there to learn, and you know you're gonna be working with people. In my case, almost half my age. Nah, joking. 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, And there is a difference in age, a difference in generation, mindsets, everything. But the professors, some of them are actually around my age. Can you imagine that? But it's a great experience. There wasn't. I struggled in the first couple of weeks. Like, I legit thought I messed up. I came to a school I shouldn't be here. I'm going to fail. I legit thought that. Like, very first day, I walked into my biology class and I saw, biology, cells, molecules, nucleus, the powerhouse of the cell, mitochondria. I was intimidated. I was legit intimidated. And it took me a little bit to kind of see that it's okay. Like, I'm there to learn. I don't know these things, obviously, but that's why I'm there, is to learn. So I would sit always in the front, and I would ask questions. And I would ask questions on the very first week, hey, this or that. And after a few days, after a week or two, I felt fine. I got over that fear. I got over that limitation. I would talk with my professors, with my fellow peers, classmates, ask them questions or notes in case, maybe they have a different perspective, or they can explain things a little bit better to me, and just communicating with them. And that really helps me a lot because in the military, you're told you get asked one question, and you might get more help or you might not. But here, you can schedule an appointment, you can get tutoring, you can get counseling. There's so many different resources that you can use to succeed. And I used them. I don't care. I know some people are like, oh, do you really need a tutor for that? Well, yeah. Even though, like, your GI Bill is paying for it, you still want to represent yourself and your fellow veterans as educated in a positive way. Because if you just go in and you bombed all the classes, there's various issues going on. Like, what's going on with you, your personal life, your student life. Maybe it's an adaptability thing, or even then, ultimately people are going to remember that. And you want to be the best that you can be. I know, right? A little army slang. You want to be the best you can be, and a good example. Because you never know who's watching you. Other veterans watch you, and they might come to you, or some of the younger students. So the second thing that I had to deal with is probably managing all my classes. So obviously you don't ever want to bite off more than you can chew, but you also kind of want to be realistic in your classes, right? So for instance, what I mean by that is I like my school, but I know there are some classes that I absolutely abhor. For instance, math. I hate math. I can do 1 plus 1 equals 2, simple math, but once you start throwing in physics, chemistry equations, it can get rough. Now, what I would do, and mind you, I did fail one class one semester, and that was anatomy and physiology. I failed the lab portion. I was taking general chemistry 1. This isn't an excuse or anything like that. No, like, I should have done better, obviously, but I learned from my mistakes. Like, I realized that general chemistry was a lot for me. A&P requires a lot of time and attention because you have to memorize things, different body parts, different systems, and you gotta spell it out to the letter. Yes, in my school it's like 1 or 2 letters you can be off, otherwise you get that answer wrong. And I had to retake that lab, and I passed it the second time, but I learned from my mistakes. I realized, like, when I have to take a certain class that involves formulas, mathematical approach, I'm going to make sure I'm not taking something like anatomy and physiology. And this semester I ended up taking general chemistry 2 and organic chemistry. I thought I would be able to feed off of both classes, right? Like one after the other and kind of keep going. Oh, I was wrong. Organic chemistry became like anatomy and physiology because I had to learn to memorize things, and I had to learn how to basically identify in different structures, right? And general chemistry too, you had way more equations, you had way more formulas, and it was rough, but I used my resources. Tutoring, when I could, I would go talk to my professors, especially after an exam, and go over my exam with them and see where I went wrong, what could I have done differently. And it helps, like, afterwards you can either regret or you can learn, and I learned. And it was this semester was pretty tough. I purposely scheduled it where I had 3 main classes throughout the semester, and this kind of ties into my other topic. I had a 4th class that was a accelerated course, and basically, instead of taking a full semester, it's 7 weeks or whatever the time is at each school. And what I would do is I put that class towards the end of the semester. So for the first half, I was learning and getting used to those classes. So when I took on the next class, which was art appreciation, it was good, easy A. And now for winter, I'm taking another class. It's another mathematical class. It's accelerated. Yes, I know it's 7 weeks, or not 7 weeks, excuse me. It's like a month-long class. It's rough, but it has to be done. And that's the thing that can help you, is if you can kind of structure your schedule, where if you're struggling with these certain types of classes, you can schedule in other classes, like I call them filler classes, the art appreciation, arithmetic, and structure. I forget, it's an English class. I was structure this in where I had the core classes that were complicated, plus those ones that were easy to do, and it helps. I'm telling you, take the time to sit down with a counselor and kind of see what can work best for you. Obviously, everybody has different things. Me personally, it was the fact that I had to take care of my daughter, so I couldn't take, six classes in one semester, because that requires me to be in my books from the moment that I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. Well, where am I going to be able to spend time with my family, with my daughter? Like, I had to make that choice of whether or not I can do this, or the best way of doing it. And I found that to the best of my ability, and it's worked. Now let's see, what other things? Stigmas. All right. So how would I go to school? And what do I mean by that? I would go to school with the mentality that all my peers are my equals. I don't view them as children. I don't view them as less. I view them as my companion, or not my companion, excuse me, my peers, right? My classmates. And that's something I noticed with some veterans is I call them bro vets. They think, oh, I was in the service for this many years, or whatever, and they look down at students. And I think that's a horrible take. It's a negative, it's stigma. It makes us look bad. 100%. I joined a military affiliated group on my school, and there were some, and I would talk with some veterans, and I would talk with some of the ROTC kids, and they would ask me questions, and then they would tell me stuff or situations that they had with members of this organization that we're trying to grow, right? Because not all schools have a military association or a veteran presence. My school doesn't. So we were trying to build this up. So when I'm talking to these ROTC guys and girls, they would tell me like, yeah, we don't really like this association because this person who was within the leadership came at one of the people in charge of the ROTC. I forget the proper title, but just for this, I'll say captain. And he was, instead of giving wisdom, advice, something positive, right? Because some of these guys are full, they want to be Rangers, they want to be airborne, they want to be infantry, and that's great. Hey man, more power to you. Get as much training as you can. Do what you need to do right now, so when you go into the service, you're solid. And I would tell them certain things, that perspective and things, but when they're telling me, hey, I would tell them I want to do this. Oh, well, that's stupid, and try to belittle somebody's plans and their efforts. That's wrong. That is wrong. That works against us, right? Because you want to help the next generation. And it's probably a generational thing. Maybe it's just the mentality, but you don't ever want to look at somebody as less. I can't, excuse me. I can't do that. They would tell me things, and I would give advice if they asked, right? Like, the one solid thing I think I told some of these younger prospects of being Rangers. I'm not a Ranger. I was never anything. I was just a regular infantryman. But what I told them was like, hey, you guys are training with music. You're not going to have music when you're training out there, when you're in the field, when you're doing repetitions of certain, movements, battle drills. You don't have music. And so I would tell them, it's like, hey, look, if you're going on a run, because we all been on a run, you don't have music, right? you're alone with your thoughts. And sometimes that's the hardest thing for people, is when you're alone with your thoughts, and you can be your worst enemy. Not everybody's David Goggins, shout out. So I would say, like, hey man, like, just listen, like, don't listen to music, get used to training with no motivation, or no stimulants, because they would take their pre-workouts, they would take this and that. And it's like, hey man, like, if after they ask me, and that's what I would tell them, like, hey man, like, look at it from this perspective. They say thank you, I said you're welcome, and that was it. Positive interaction, hopefully. And that's why whenever I see them, they talk to me, hi. But they will always remember that negative interaction with a bro vet. And especially, like, I get it, right? When you're in service, you can be brutal to each other with your friends, your buddies. You say some mean things, some funny things. But understand, you can't be like that with people that don't know you, that aren't from that lifestyle. You can come off as offensive, you can offend them. I get it, you don't care, but that's the thing, you have to care. You are representing veterans, you are representing yourself, and nobody wants to be around somebody that cannot do the most basic thing of showing respect. When you were in the service, you knew when you had to be quiet, you knew when you had to listen, and you knew how to be respectful. Do that out here. Do not be that bro vet that makes people hate us by being, a bro vet saying you don't care, oh, this and that. Don't. Like, get rid of that, because you're not going to get far. I'm letting you know. You're not going to get far. People are not going to want to be with you. And if they start complaining about you, your career or your student life is going to come to a stop. So try to just realize, like, they're students. They're people like you. Yes, you have a different life before them. We all come from different backgrounds, but you have to be respectful. And that's my biggest thing. Just be respectful. Don't be a bro vet. We already have so many negative stigmas around us. Don't be part of that reason. Alright. What else? I should have made a list, honestly. But I just finished working out, and I came home. I'm about to do a little bit of chores around the house. So I'm making this video in between, just when I'm relaxing, Alright, what else can I say about school? So I changed my major. Originally, I was going in as health science pre-PA. I was on the PA path. I did majority of my classes. I had a few core, but I got to a point where multiple things stacked up on each other, and I had to switch my my degree. And there's nothing wrong with having to switch degrees and revisiting your strategies, because I'm being honest, right? Because I'm not gonna say I'm a straight A student. No, I'm an average student. Maybe some classes I'm extraordinary, other classes not so much. And I'll give you an example. You need a 3.2 GPA average just to stay within the health science pre-PA. I was at a 3.12. Excuse me. I was pushed out basically for I had to get out of the program. I already tried at the beginning of the semester to change out to public health. Turns out couldn't do it. I missed a day. I had to pay a certain percentage so I can switch. Couldn't afford it. I had to finish this semester with the classes that I had, which were not going to count for my new degree, right? Well, come to the end of the semester, they tell me regardless you had to switch, right? So I already wanted to. They want me to. It works out perfectly. I go in, I talk to my counselor. I look at the public health. They don't have none of the classes that I can take for spring. I would have to wait until fall of next year to take the classes that would unlock the previous level of classes. So that would extend my time in the program. And that was another thing about the pre-PA program. I had to take other classes at another institute to transfer back to this university because of technicalities with the degree not counting as an elective, right? Issues that you might encounter, and those are things for you to consider. So I can't afford to pay another institute money for this class and transfer it over. The timing, all that is just too much. Now public health, same thing. Like now I had to wait. I can do filler classes, but when I come back for that next fall, I could take core classes and there's no more filler classes. So I'll be able to take maybe 2 or 3 classes. And I have, as a full-time student, you have to be within a certain amount of credits. So I sat there with my wife and we talked, and I looked to see what I can do as a what can I do? I like the health science. So I looked at exercise physiologists with the personal training concentration. I talked to my professor, my counselor. Hey, between this and strength and conditioning, what do you think? He tells me, well, on this one, you'll get certain classes that this one doesn't. I can always come back and get the certificate, just do those classes to get that degree or that certification for that. So those are things that for you to think about, because I graduated with my bachelor's. I'm in health science or exercise physiologist. I can do other degrees or plans that are under that degree easily. All you have to do is just take the core classes. So anyway, going back to it, I talked to my counselor. I see that was the best step for me, and now I have spring. I have a full load of classes up to summer. I already stacked all the classes that I could, and I should be graduating hopefully within a year, hopefully, versus pre-PA or public health an additional 2 years, right? And if I went for my master's in PA, the school is about 2 years and about 4 months, depending on the program and the how they go about with the courses. So I would be around 34, 35, 36, barely graduating, trying to get into PA. So those are all things I had to consider, because I would love to be a PA and make an impact, but I can also make an impact as an exercise physiologist, a personal trainer, because eventually one of my life goals now is to open a gym. So once I graduate, I start training people, I start helping people, and with the things that they want to do in their life. Obviously I want to be a coach, I want to be a trainer, but I just want to help people, guide them, help them. Like I said originally in my video, there's so much different conflicting views, so many stigmas, so many things, and sometimes all this information can be a negative thing for people that just want to take that step and improving their lives. And that's where I want, especially when you look at veterans, right? You're in shape, you get out, and all of a sudden you're 50 pounds overweight. You grew out your beard and you don't exercise, your back's hurting, your knees are hurting, and your health starts to deteriorate. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't believe it's a good thing. I think I understand you just want to let go, you want to be free, but you're adding yourself into another form where you're restricting yourself, because now of your body weight, you're starting to add other elements to yourself. Your knees, if you're heavy or you already have bad knees, being healthy, imagine how you're gonna feel when you're 50 pounds, 60 pounds overweight. You get winded just by tying your shoes. You don't want to do that. And I beg my fellow veterans, my fellow friends, take that initiative, man. Find something that you want to do, whether it's weightlifting, strongman, whether it's a CrossFit, runner, Spartan race. There are dozens of different sports, and you can find something for you. You don't have to, if you don't want to lift weights, that's fine. You want to do calisthenics, that's fine. Just find something and stick with it. I know plenty of veterans that do contact sports, boxing, jiu-jitsu. I know veterans that literally are a strongman. I know one guy, dude started off like an amateur. He went from bodybuilding to strongman. Now he's a professional. He stuck with it. That man is amazing. Shout out to Dominic Creaky. I have other people that have been doing powerlifting. It's just, there's so many things that you can do, but the worst thing that you can do is not do anything. It's just sitting there and letting yourself go to waste. I always say it is, you have to think about the example that you're setting for yourself, for your family, and for your kids. You don't want to let your kids think it's okay to be out of shape, to be weak, to be sick, if you can prevent it. So I don't want to give a sermon. I'm not an expert. Everybody has their own circumstances, and that's something every single person needs to do for themselves, is find something that they love to do and just do it. Don't worry about it. Just go in. You may win, you may lose, but the thing that matters is that you get up and you keep going. And I hope whoever listens to this video all the way through, I hope that this video has helped you. If there's any more questions, anything that you guys want me to talk about, I will make more videos to come. I made this one because a buddy of mine asked. And again, I thank you guys for the support. I thank you guys for listening to me. I thank you guys for staying here for almost 30 minutes of a video that should have been just 15. Again, y'all take care. Have a good week. All right. Bye.